Pleasure to welcome Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the show. And Dale, I have a podcast. I had my coworker Damian Woody on, and I just listened. I let him talk, and I listened. On the Dale Jr. download, you had Bubba Wallace on to talk about the topic that is really the only topic right now in our country. As he talked and you listened, what was memorable? What was notable to you?
Well, there's a lot there. Bubba's a young man who's he's been really fun to watch mature over the last several years, and now he's put into a position where he's growing up really fast, and he's becoming a leader in our sport, and he's making his voice heard, and he's saying a lot of powerful things. And I'm so grateful for Bubba, because without him, we might not have that leadership, and we might not have that guidance and the opportunity to understand, the opportunity to listen. So, that's not always been there in our sport. And so I don't think I can say enough how much I appreciate Bubba. And, you mentioned him coming on our podcast, and he was great to give us a little bit of time, but I haven't, everywhere I've looked, I've seen Bubba in the media talking about what's going on in our country. He's also had a lot of conversations with people in our industry, other drivers, that I think have really helped, not just Bubba, but really helped those drivers understand what Bubba deals with and what his life is like and how it's different from theirs. So I'm just really, I feel so thankful for Bubba to be as strong as he is, to be able to carry that load on his own, because he shouldn't have to. He's the only black driver in the Cup Series. We have a lot of people in our industry, but at the Cup level, with the platform and the voice that he carries an incredibly heavy load for us. So in his own experiences, he shared some things that were super personal to him, and that's hard to do. And he's, like I said, he's a very young man, but man, he is becoming a leader for us.
It helps when somebody with your kind of weight puts their weight behind that message, and you tweeted out support for the cause. And I'm just curious, Dale, you have some of the most passionate fans in sports. How did that play? What kind of feedback did you get when you put your weight behind that message?
It depends on where you're looking. If you're looking at Twitter, every platform's got sort of a different vibe. And
that place is a toxic dump.
Well, it can be. And so I'll be honest with you. I sometimes question even going to that space for anything other than just general conversation. But, my heart's breaking for, what these troubling times and what's going on in our amazing country. And I don't know, I think the opportunity to come to do the podcast for me is a place where I can control the context and the narrative, and I've learned that years ago as a spokesman or as somebody who does a lot of media. You want to be able to kind of control the narrative when it's in print. You can't, people always say you can't read tone in text, and
sure,
man, if you go on Twitter and you say something, you get called a lot of names, and a lot of people don't agree with it and don't understand where you're coming from. So it's just really frustrating to work in that space. But sometimes it might be the quickest and easiest way to get your point across. But,
I agree, and I don't think that because people react a certain way means that we shouldn't try to. The conversation is worthwhile, but the key thing that you talked about with Bubba, and that Damian talked about with me, and that Booger talked about, Booger McFarland, when he was on with me on Wednesday night, is just the idea of listening. And I believe, like, everybody needs to listen to everybody, because we can disagree about certain points, right, in life, and we're always gonna. But if people would would at least consider the position of somebody that might not look like them or think like them, you know, I don't see why that's impossible, but at times it feels impossible. And I would imagine maybe, like, we all see it on social media, but I mean, maybe you dealt with that when you posted this stuff. I don't know. I shouldn't assume that, but maybe you did.
Yeah, I've dealt with that before and kind of knew what I was getting myself into anytime you stand up for something you believe in. But this feels different. This what's going on right now feels different than the past. And
what about it to you? I've said that too, and I've heard that. But what is it? What is it, Dale, to you that feels different?
So hearing Bubba talk about some of the things that happened to him and some of the things that's going on in his family, listen to some other black friends and some of the things that they've dealt with. I don't know. This is more. It's impacting me differently. More. I'm listening more. You know, I think in the past, you would stand up in support or vocally support or you know, just want to show that, you know, you believe in doing things the right way and treating people with respect and you know, handling things the right way. But I think this time it's about listening. It's about learning.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.